These fans don't drink.
We are live. Welcome to the Star Wars Fanatics live stream right here on Facebook. I'm Joe, he's Ro, and we got a lot. No, didn't get that right. But as usual, we're drinking. Welcome to the show, people. Joe, how's your day going?
It's going great. We're here talking about Star Wars.
Yeah.
So here's the deal.
I didn't get a chance on your previous show to chime in on the Star Wars versus Power Rangers argument.
It's not a versus thing.
No, well, it kind of was.
Not really. According to Adi Shankar.
It was. And that's fine. But, okay, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just wanted to put that out there for later.
Chime in.
Look, Star Wars started off great. And it has had its rough...
I think it still is great.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Power Rangers, and I've seen the very first season, it didn't start off great. It took a little while to get there.
That's technically not true. So if you actually look at the statistics and analytics of Star Wars from the first season,
no, I'm not saying in numbers.
Popularity.
No, Power Rangers, because my kids were watching Power Rangers. It was super popular. You walk down the street on Halloween, there was 10x more Power Rangers than there were anything from Star Wars, right? But it took a while for them to find their groove storytelling. I'm not saying that it is.
This has an odd taste to it. I feel
There's
like
something weird going on. But I just wanted to put that. It was comparing apples and oranges. It's two different things, and for him to take such a bold statement like that, I mean, come on, Star Wars, really? You're gonna. I get it. You're being controversial, and you want to put your thing up above it all. And he's made like some great contributions to the film world, but yeah, he's comparing apples and oranges, I think.
Yeah, I think those are two different. I think that's an off-basis comparison. Because it's very hard to compare Star Wars. Like, you can't really even compare Star Wars to Marvel or DC.
Right,
It's just so Star Trek, maybe. Even that is a little different. Because those are very different shows.
They are. And each of these fandoms that every time, like, well, and we're going to get into Doctor Who, every time you have one of these really deep fandoms with a long, rich history, there's always, I mean, I've heard Doctor Who is so much better than Star Wars comparisons, and Star Wars storytelling is this, and this, and it's so basic. You know what? Star Wars was just 3 fucking movies for a long time. You know, it took a while. And
what's a better franchise, though, Star Wars or The Godfather?
To me, Godfather is in my top 5 films of all time. But I think Star Wars is a better franchise for a few reasons.
Indiana Jones?
Indiana Jones is in my top 10, but... if I had to pick, I still go with Star Wars on that. The one thing that people don't know about me that I put above Star Wars is actually Jaws. You know, that's like my favorite movie
of all time. It's not a franchise. Well, I guess it kind of is.
Kind of is.
Jaws 2
they were all
3,
shitty after that, but yeah, it kind of is a franchise. But fucking Meg, dude, that's all I'm saying.
I will say that if you really think about this, let's take a step back and really think about this. The Meg made more money than Solo.
Yeah, that's a tough one to swallow. Man.
Like,
has Marvel had a flop that bad?
No.
Yeah.
Not that bad.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, they've all outdone budgets. They've all performed well.
But Fox has had the flop.
Yeah.
Fox Marvel has had several big flops.
I'm not yes, they have actually.
Yeah.
They have.
Some of their sequel
Fantastic
films.
Four 2, I feel like.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. The sequels, pretty rough. We got a bunch of new people in the chat, by the way.
I love seeing new people.
Yes. Ooh, Apes Trilogy is the greatest trilogy ever.
I got to agree with that. Hold on, I haven't seen.
Really?
I don't think I've seen Dawn of Planet of the Apes.
I've seen them all, and they were all
the newer ones I heard are amazing.
They are all very enjoyable films. I don't know if they're the greatest trilogies. If it's the greatest trilogy ever, I would
a trilogy.
disagree.
But, I mean, look, I think realistically, when it comes down to it, at least in geekdom, when you're talking about high-end trilogies, you got to be talking about Star Wars. And the other one, as much as I don't agree with it, but it's Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings is up there, and so is Indiana Jones. It's no longer a trilogy, I guess.
Back to the Future?
Back to the Future is high up on my list.
I think Back to the Future might be the best trilogy of all time.
Better than...
Transformers?
Better than Godfather trilogy?
Well, Godfather...
I mean, it's not fandom film.
I love Godfather. Godfather 1 and 2 are 2 of my favorite. They're in my top 10 favorite movies of all time.
Yeah,
I love those movies.
I mean, those are close to perfect movies.
But we got to get back on track, man. We got to talk some Star Wars.
So I want to welcome everybody who's new that's in the chat. And like I said, there's a lot of new people in the chat today. So welcome.
Robbie Burns, he asks, I'm speaking of chat real quick. If you guys want us to interact, give us your questions. Make your comments known. But right now, Robbie Burns, he says, Joe, Do you think there will ever be a Boba Fett movie in the Star Wars movies? 100%.
100%. And I think we're going to see it sooner than you think. And I think the next...
No, you're good. Keep going.
I think the next anthology film, if the rumors are true, I mean, I know that there is no release schedule at the moment. There's a lot of reasons for that, and there's a lot of speculation for that. But the next anthology film, if it is an Obi-Wan film, we know that they were setting up to shoot on Tatooine, right? Something that comes next in the timeline after Solo, I think we see Boba Fett. I think we're really close.
I think that's a mistake.
Okay.
The reason I think that's a mistake is because I feel that we've gotten a lot of these past characters before. Yeah. Like, I think it's now about time that we propel ourselves into the future of Star Wars.
Okay.
And I think that we live so much in the past. Boba Fett, Jabba the Hutt, whoever this, whoever that. The only one that I think is acceptable is Dash Rendar.
Well, you know what? And we're talking about what is going to be on the Star Wars Fanatics T-shirt, and I think we came a unanimous decision, and I'd love to hear it, is going to be B. Arthur and Dash Rendar, right?
Yeah.
I keep forgetting fucking what the hell's B. Arthur's name? It starts with a W.
It's sad that you can't remember her name. It's your favorite Star Wars character of all time.
Well, she deserves a Black Series figure, 100%. Now,
that's kind of
talking about new characters. Rian Johnson Trilogy. He has confirmed via Twitter that it is still happening, and that I would assume at some point in time we're going to start hearing some announcements such as writers, maybe some casting announcements, things like that, in the next year or so. I mean, I don't know what he's got going on right now, but you want to talk about a polarizing guy who's going to bring new characters to the universe? I bet you he doesn't bring back one fucking Star Wars character.
Actually, I want to talk to you about Rian Johnson for a quick second, mainly because I noticed that, because I know your film taste, you have a lot of the same taste that he does when it comes to those old school samurai films. And I know that you did like The Last Jedi, as did I.
I did.
Why do you think that Rian Johnson, or what I should say is, what do you think Rian Johnson brings to the Star Wars universe that people may not be seeing?
Well, that's a good question. I think that he is trying to make things fresh. What people don't really realize about him is that he is a Star Wars fan. He wouldn't. I mean, of course, anybody in his shoes is going to sign a three film deal. Who knows what kind of fucking money was put on the table for that? But he is a Star Wars fan, and I think he brings a very. He's not afraid to take risks with a franchise, right? And that's what he brings to the table. So his next 3 films that are going to be in this universe, I guarantee will be something slightly unexpected.
Unexpected, I think, is good in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Because I feel like being too predictable is playing it a little too safe.
Yeah.
And I think that right now Star Wars, I don't know, man. That's a hard question. That's a hard answer, actually, because maybe being too predictable is exactly what Star Wars needs right now.
Look, we have 3 trilogies that are the Skywalker trilogies, and then 2 anthology films that play to the same timeline. We haven't really, if you think about it, everything is still the same, story, part of the same story. We're doing anthology films to bring backstory to the current timeline, and we have 3 sets of trilogies that go down one Skywalker story, from Anakin to Luke to Ben Solo. We're 3 trilogies, and we have anthology films to support that canon storytelling. It's time for something completely new, and I think that's what we're going to get out of Rian Johnson.
Do you think Dustin Gunter says Broomstick Boy? Do you think that's a focus of his next trilogy?
No, I think that's going to be worked into Episode 9 somehow, and I don't think that Rian Johnson is going to. I think he was setting up 9 the way he kind of said, because he had so much freedom, the way he saw the story progressing. I don't think he brings that with him.
I find it interesting because Broomstick Boy, I do like that character. I do like what that character is representing and where it was going. And realistically, it can't really be used as a slight, because at the end of the day, we can call Anakin Pod Racing Boy, and that does not sit well with anybody.
No. And you know what? I think Broomstick Boy was just such a refreshing ending, because this has been a story of rebellion, right? And it's just because the way Episode 8 ended, in a complete rebuild of the rebellion, that bringing something like that was just a great way to set up the story, and it was just refreshing because we've never really seen anything like that other than a bunch of younglings getting slaughtered by Anakin. You know, we haven't really seen that young. I mean, since Phantom Menace, that young of a Force user in the Star Wars film line. We've seen it in the animated series, but in the Star Wars cinematic releases, we have not really seen it yet, unless you want to count that first Clone Wars thing when we were introduced to Ahsoka.
Well, let me ask you another
we
question.
Don't count that one.
I know that you like Rian Johnson for the films that he likes, but I also know you're a big sci-fi fan.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you a little bit about sci-fi.
Okay.
Sci-fi is obviously Star Wars is a huge part of sci-fi,
Yeah.
but so is Doctor Who.
Yes.
And with the news of Doctor Who,
Okay.
Matt Smith, who played the Doctor, just got cast in episode 9.
Yeah, there's a lot of people talking about this, and I love it.
What if he's older broomstick boy?
It could be. I'm down with whatever. I mean, look at him. He's wielding his version of the lightsaber. His
sonic screwdriver.
Sonic screwdriver is awesome. Got something flying around my head. Something buzzing. Now, the interesting thing about him coming in to this franchise, actually, it's not really an interesting thing. It's just something that I love. When he was in Doctor Who, what people don't really realize, they brought him in to restart the whole Doctor Who franchise. So his job as the Doctor during his years was not to go back into the, what was it, like 7, 8 previous seasons of Doctor Who. It was designed for him to restart the storytelling for a new generation. He was actually my real introduction to Doctor Who. I wasn't a big fan when the return came, and it's really hard to watch old episodes, and I know I'm going to get hate for that. Old episodes of Doctor Who don't stand the test of time for me. Anyways, I really enjoyed watching Matt Smith breathe new life and a new, fresh take on a very established character, right? So I don't know what my point was in this. I'm just excited to have him in the fucking universe and cross and just bring some Whovians over with you.
He's an Emmy-nominated actor for the Queen. A lot of fans that I've seen really want him to play Thrawn. I don't know if they want him to play Thrawn more so than they just want to see Thrawn, but he's been talked about for that. There was an interesting comment that I saw in the chat right now.
He does fit the animated
He's too
look.
young.
He looks
Eli Vanto.
Okay.
Star Wars character Eli Vanto was a fan cast too. If we can see Eli Vanto in a Star Wars film, what would you think about that?
I'm not familiar enough with that character.
Well, he's a human male who was initially served as an ensign, later a commander for the Imperial Navy.
Okay.
During this was all during the Galactic Empire, though.
Right.
For several years, Vanto served as a translator, an aide, a student, and a protege of Chiss, known as Thrawn.
Okay.
So maybe he's Thrawn's protege.
Okay.
You think maybe we get in that story?
Was he in the Heir to the Empire trilogy?
He may have been.
I don't remember that character. So this is new to me. So I'm not familiar with this guy. It sounds like a fit. We do know that when J.J. Abrams comes to the table, he's not afraid to do some fan service and borrow things out of the extended universe or the past canon timeline. I mean, you know, he takes those chances. He plays the nostalgia button on fans. So there could be some of that. I mean, we saw like the reintroduction of some unexpected characters in Solo. So it is something that we have seen several times in Star Wars. Rogue One was a great example with Forrest Whitaker's take on the rebel. What was the crazy rebel from Clone Wars?
Saw Gerrera?
Saw Gerrera, right? Interesting, obscure characters brought into the mainstream just because they fit. So if it fits, why not, man?
I mean, look, I think that Matt Smith does two things to this franchise. It does bring over those Whovians, but it also gives it more geek credibility. And I think that Star Wars may have veered away a little bit from that credibility, but mainly Rogue One.
Right.
Because Rogue One had all these like award-winning actors, right?
Right.
And then I think but Solo had the most star-studded cast. I mean, Lando Calrissian.
It was very star-studded.
Star-studded cast. Whereas I think in Episode 9, we might be, and it almost seems like a ploy, in a good way, to bring in fandoms to Star Wars.
Just on a side note, Solo was the first flop, and it's the first time they brought in megastars for an ensemble.
Megastars, yeah.
I mean, Star Wars has traditionally introduced newer fresher actors,
Look.
lesser known actors, because the franchise itself sold itself.
Childish Gambino, right? You got Westworld represented with what's her name?
The
Maeve. I call her
Maeve.
Maeve from Westworld.
You're right.
you also had Emilia Clarke, Game of Thrones, right?
Huge star.
Woody Harrelson,
Huge star.
huge actor in the world. Paul Bettany, Jarvis, Vision from the Avengers. You had an A-list cast.
Yes, you did. Yes,
right?
you did.
First time, I would say, I mean, comparable to Rogue One, but Rogue One also award-winning cast.
Award-winning cast.
Like,
yeah.
honestly, God, I don't know why Rogue One wasn't nominated for anything, because it's such a good movie. I was just watching it again the other day.
It is a really fresh contribution to the Star Wars canon timeline. I just love that film.
Candy Newton, thanks, JJ.
Thank you. Oh, and by the way, our apologies to JJ Goodman. Our setup, we have a brand new setup, new gear. Thank you for everybody who helped us get to this point. A little side note, if I could do a little bit of housekeeping. Everyone here at the Star Wars Fanatics, we rely on you. We rely on our community. You guys are the frickin' best. Why did I say frickin'? I have no problem saying fuck, and I just said frickin'. I censored myself.
Corporate sponsorship.
Maybe we're getting that way. But because of you guys, the way you like, the way you share, the way you comment, the way you engage with our social media, thank you guys. We were able to take this up a notch, getting new gear, but some growing pains with the new gear. We lost a few of our older functions. We're going to reintroduce them, and we'll get JJ on real soon. One of our top writers.
Abrams and Goodman together.
One of our top writers from the Star Wars community.
And from that show, where was it? Dynamite. What's that show? Good Times.
Good Times. So that's all. That's you guys. Thank you. All the writers at that#show.com that are putting up Star Wars articles started in this comment section.
Greg Evans is one of them.
Greg Evans.
Shout out to Greg Evans. Shout out to JJ Goodman. Any of you other guys that want to write for that #show, we love reading the Star Wars articles. We love sharing the Star Wars articles. All you got to do is send an email to ths@that#show.com. Again, that is ths@that#show.com. We want to bring in a new blood. We want to change the Star Wars culture, but change it for the good, change it for the better. We want to make sure that we're getting the best Star Wars quality properties that we deserve. And listen, just because Disney bought it doesn't necessarily mean that they know exactly what to do with it. And it's our jobs as hardcore fans to guide them in that right direction. Mm-hmm. And though we might not agree on everything all the time, like we both liked Last Jedi.
Yeah.
And it's okay if you didn't, because I understand why you didn't. I completely get it and I respect it. But at the end of the day, we're all fans fighting for the same cause.
Yep.
So, guys, if you want to join us in that fight, let's suit up like the rebellions and send your emails in at ths@that#show.com. We're looking for fresh blood, new writers, because we got some great ones in here, like JJ, like Greg, like Ben Wolf, all you guys that are in there. You guys are killing it, but let's make our team stronger.
Yeah.
And keep it going.
You guys are the best.
There's a ton of you guys. Anthony, like all you guys, man.
So David, so thank you guys. David Tennant, does he fit into the Star Wars unit?
Matt Smith?
No, I'm talking about David Tennant, because he was at The Last Jedi, sitting 2 rows in front of us at The Last Jedi. I like to mention that every fucking time, because it's next to him, sitting next to Carlton. That was the best celebrity sight in that night.
Tennant.
But he fits in the Star. Do you feel like he's someone we've talked about?
I'll be honest with you.
That fit into the Star Wars universe.
If David Tennant, honestly, to me, now after watching him on Jessica Jones, he could play Thrawn. Yeah. Like, that's a dude. That guy is the actor's actor.
He was brilliant on
that. No
that.
joke. I will credit Doctor, and this isn't a Doctor Who show, but I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Between David Tennant, Matt Smith, Christopher Eccleston, Peter Capaldi.
Yeah.
Dude, you're looking at phenomenal actors, right? They're not skimming on actors whatsoever.
No. That franchise was reborn with
Dude,
these
honestly,
guys.
Eccleston could play a Thrawn also. Like, he'd be a great Thrawn. Christopher Eccleston would be an amazing Thrawn.
Yeah. And you know what? They do a bulk of their casting is English actors, and because they do a bulk of their casting out there at Pinewood Studios, and that's why you have a lot of English accents in space. But, you know, it's all good. We love it.
I'm excited just to get this. But, again, credit to Doctor Who. They do a great job in who they cast. They're doing it with amazing actors. And I think Matt Smith is going to add that element of his acting ability. And it's great because I think recently on The Queen, he's been able to show what he can do.
Yeah.
And I think in Star Wars, he could hone in on that, but also get that niche sci-fi geek audience that we are, and really get us to get on board. Now,
I love it.
Let's switch gears for a second.
Sure.
And I want to talk about Star Wars Land. It's called the Galaxy's Edge. Let's talk about...
Sure.
This is controversial,
It is.
but also at the same time eye-opening in a good way for a lot of folks. Disney's, and this is written by Greg Evans. So Greg Evans is in the chat right now.
Yeah, wrote this article on that hashtag show.
Matter of fact, guys, if you guys haven't read the article, what I'm going to do is I'm going to post it in that chat so you guys can follow along with us.
And get into this story. You know, here at the Star Wars Fanatics, we do our show late at night, and we like to drink and have fun, and we drop a few F-bombs here and there. The big part about this news is that Disneyland now has a place for the mainstream public, because they've always had the 33 behind the scenes or whatever, for the mainstream public to buy alcohol. It took Star Wars to get Disneyland and Disney World there. What do you think about that?
I'm a little surprised that it's Star Wars Land that's doing it. I call it Star Wars Land because it is called Galaxy's Edge, but I call it Star Wars Land still. I'm surprised that it's Star Wars that's doing it. However, if I was expecting alcohol to be served, I'd expect them to do it if they did like Avengers World and it was Stark Tower. Like, that makes more sense to me. But I'm on board with this. I think I'm more, even outside of the alcohol, I'm more excited just to see a Star Wars cantina. I mean, I know that we've
seen some Papa bars,
cantinas,
and we've had some Papa bars, and we've seen like some
Scum and Villainy.
We've seen it pop up at the conventions. We've seen remakes of it at the what do you call it, Celebration. But to actually go and drink at one is at an exact replica. And I'm gonna bet there's gonna be a whole lot of cosplayers who get jobs at Disneyland. There's probably gonna be a whole lot of 501st walking around the cantina. Monitoring the place and serving drinks. That is going to be an experience. Now, do we walk in and hear the same song over and over and over again?
Hey, these are... I'm gonna quote Greg Evans on this. Great quote. Okay. He starts off with the article, "These are the drinks you're looking for." That sets the tone for what it is, right? Here's what I'm looking forward to about this. Not only... Listen... As a kid, and I'm sure that people that are hardcore Star Wars fans that started back in '77, they're going to walk into this and almost shed a tear. Mainly because you're walking into the Star Wars world. I mean, Ro, let me ask you a question. This is going to go slightly off topic, but still on the same subject. Now, you've been a Star Wars fan your whole life. What was the first Star Wars movie you ever saw, like, that you can remember seeing in theaters or something?
Star Wars.
The first one?
Star Wars. The
77?
77, dude.
Get out.
Yeah.
Really?
Remember, I'm the oldest guy here on the show.
How old were you, not to date you?
I was 7 years old.
7 years old.
I was 7 years old.
Saw it in a theater. Star Wars blew your mind.
Blew my mind.
And then you had that for such a long time because those movies didn't come out the way that movies come out today. Because if the Star Wars trilogy were to come out right now, it'd be like you get A New Hope, then the next year you get Empire, and the next year you get Return, right? You had to wait a solid time span.
Now, when you watched films in the 70s and then the 80s, you had a long fucking break in between your fandoms. That's why we had to rely on... we were playing with our lightsabers and recreating scenes, and that's all we fucking had.
My first Star Wars ever in a theater, not just seeing it, but in a theater, was it was either... I think it might have been... No. It was the remastered. Remember they did the remastered versions, the new ones? It was A New Hope, the new one.
Right.
Right? So that it came way later, and then eventually The Phantom Menace. But, well, I got to ask you a question. So, and I'm going to get back to
I was at all those. I went to every single one of those, too.
I'll get back to Galaxy's Edge in a second. But as a hardcore fan from 1977 to where we are today, you just recently, within the last couple of years, you went to the premiere of your first Star Wars movie, which was Episode 8, Last Jedi.
Right.
Talk to me about that experience, what it made you feel as a fan getting to that moment.
Oh, man.
Because we started doing all of this for that.
I mean, I know, like, when we first started doing this, there was no talk about a Disney buyout. And it was pre-Disney buyout when I first started doing stuff for iQuiz way back when. I just loved it, right? And that's all I had. And I never in a million years thought that I was going to have anything more than maybe some animated stuff coming into my life, other than some books, and I would read a few books every now and then. And then hearing that Star Wars is back, like I had like genuine excitement for the film going experience again. I gotta be honest. I kind of lost touch with like going to the movies and being into films and stuff. Yeah, Harry Potter was there and stuff like that. I was just watching fandom films, Lord of the Rings. I loved it, but it wasn't the same thing as when I heard about The Force Awakens. And I can tell you for a fact that it's been an emotional journey from the start.
So I actually saw The Force Awakens with you at the Chinese theater.
But even before that, when we were at Star Wars Celebration, when just the fucking trailer came out, I was fucking bawling like a little kid, and I didn't even really put together why. What was it? It was just this rush of nostalgia, and I was like, oh wow, I really do love these characters. Now, fast forward to walking down the red carpet.
That's crazy.
At The Last Jedi, and I can't explain it. I had chills. I was excited. I was pumped up the whole night. It was one of the best experiences of my entire life.
That was one of my first movie premieres too, I think.
Yeah, you've been to a lot since.
Well,
you started
Cars,
doing.
It was my first one that I cared about.
Right. But that one, I mean, remember both of us being giddy as hell, taking pictures. It was just an incredible experience, and all the celebrities around and everybody that was there. I can't imagine a better audience to see it with. It was the most excitable audience. It was all Star Wars fans.
Shrine Auditorium.
It was so great. And we did the same thing with Solo, and it was just as much fun. But
Solo a little different though.
Yeah.
Because we already knew what to expect. We knew what was going in, and then we didn't know there was an after party.
Right.
And then we're like, after party.
Yeah.
You're like, here are your passes. And
Yeah.
here's your wristband for the after party.
Yes.
Oh, cool.
Uh-huh.
We get to that after party, and it's just like, Paul Bettany's here. Like, we're drinking with Woody Harrelson.
I did a fucking drinking game with Woody Harrelson. I didn't understand the game, and I just was like, okay, but I just drank my drink, and then he's like, you're out.
And then told me to leave his table.
That was great. I tell everybody I met Ron Howard, but he didn't even look at me. He just kind of, thanks, man. He shook my hand and walked away. But when I tell the story off air, it's a much bigger, grander story.
So the reason I bring that whole story up is for the experience. Now, that's one side of the experience, right?
Uh-huh.
Going in and immersing yourself into a land like Star Wars.
Right.
What do you think is?
No, this is interesting because I've never been a huge theme park guy. You know, a lot of people here at that hashtag show are pass holders for Disneyland. You know, I know that they spend a lot of their free time at theme parks, whether it's Universal Studios or Disneyland or wherever. I'm not that guy. I've never been like a huge. I enjoy going to Disneyland once a year, and that's about it for me, right? Now, I am a fan of immersive experiences, like going to out here in LA. We have a thing called Delusion. I just like being in the experience. Telling me I'm going to walk into a life-size Millennium Falcon. I'm going to walk into the Mos Eisley Cantina. I'm going to have stormtroopers. The security guard, the fucking security are stormtroopers in this place. I don't know what to expect. I don't know how I'm going to feel because I couldn't tell you, coming full circle, when I saw that first trailer at Star Wars Celebration and Han and Chewie, and Han says the words to Chewie, we're home, and I fucking start crying. I couldn't tell you that was going to happen. So I don't know what it's going to be like for me. I think I'm going to turn into a little kid, and it's just I'm going to want to take in all the details, and I'm going to go 3 or 4 times right out of the gate. I think that's what's going to happen.
And let me tell you guys a little something too. If you guys write for that hashtag show, you guys do get opportunities.
Yes.
Mainly like we were just talking about the premieres that we go to. But I'm just going to share a little one with you. Is that for Marvel, we have a Marvel writer, Jeremiah, that's in there currently. We brought him out from where does he live? He lives in Michigan.
Okay.
Brought him out from Michigan to go to the premiere of the last Avengers movie. So if you write for us, there are perks. Now, I want to ask you guys.
I think we're setting JJ up with something too.
We're setting JJ up with some stuff.
JJ Goodman, not Abrams.
New York Comic Con, he'll be there. But I do want to throw this to the chat now. Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, the new Star Wars world, the Star Wars land, whatever we're going to call it. What is the one thing that you absolutely need to see that needs to be in Star Wars Land Galaxy's Edge? Let us know in the chat. We're going to move on to the next topic, but we're going to shoot back to what you guys are thinking in just a second. Now, let's talk about a new subject. We are getting some answers.
We got some great comments. We don't have answers to your questions yet, but a lot of nostalgia in the chat right now. It sounds like people went on that ride with me. There's a whole lot of nostalgia. Todd, a newbie to the chat, Todd Watson, and Benjamin Wolf, and JJ, all are just expressing this child, and Dylan Carter as well, expressing a lot of nostalgia right now. So, but go on. Thank you guys.
A lot of people got chills from what you were saying, man.
Yeah.
Because it's just
it's
reliving
authentic,
your first
man.
time.
That's how I feel. I have chills right now. I get excited about this shit. That's why we do this.
Dylan says, I'll tell you what I'm doing first time walking into the cantina. I walk in, say hello. There's honestly just cry the biggest tears of joy that I possibly can, because dreams do come true, boys. Yeah. It's completely true. Now, earlier this week, I teased it here last week on Star Wars Trilogy and Star Wars Fanatics. Right. And I made do with the promise.
Right.
We did reveal a new character in Star Wars Episode 9.
It's surprisingly underwhelming response to this news. I think it's huge, personally. All the big publications did pick up on our story and giving us credit, which was nice. We saw this story run on Collider and Screen Rant, and I think even Variety, maybe. There is a new casting call out. So, ladies and gentlemen, actresses out there looking to fit this bill. My favorite part about this description, forget about the whole description. Let's just talk about the name they're using to refer to this character.
Karina.
Does that bring back anything?
It's close to Kira, but it's not. It's just Karina. The only name that I have from Karina is in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Man, I kind of feel like there's an Easter egg somewhere in there, and I don't know what it is, and I can't put my finger on it. I feel like that there is a Karina reference in the EU somewhere. I don't know, because the EU is so fucking expansive. And by the way, guys, I love you, but you're fucking crazy for all you people who think that everything in the EU needs to be canon. You fucktards. It just conflicts too much. There's just too.
I'm glad your colorful language is. Yeah. So Michael Walker actually asks. He says, "What's with the swear words? Can you not make a point without it?"
No, I like to drink and cuss and you know, it's just who I am, and I can't help it.
Let's talk about Karina for a little bit. Now, this is described as a young Charlize Theron with the street smarts and sharp wit. Studio is also looking for somebody with a good sense of humor, solid comedic timing, and a strong voice. Now, this is written by Jeremiah Peace, Charles Murphy. It's written by Charles Murphy.
It's written, yeah.
It is. It's written by, sorry,
supposed to out him like that?
Charles. It's written by Charles
Murphy.
But the reason I bring this up is it seems like this character is supposed to be the comic relief character.
Okay.
Right? A strong female character, a young, strong female character that's comic relief. So, with that definition, is there anything we can pull from that to tell us that, hey, this is possibly what we could be getting in Episode 9?
It's just Episode 9, I feel, is going to be so far down the timeline that we don't have anything to really base it on, right? Alfred drinks. Alfred. This
Alpha
is
5.
And going back, god damn it, yes, fuck, you fuck, I'm gonna drop some F-bombs while I'm drinking on my Star Wars show, you fuck. It just happens.
It does just happen.
All right.
This is what we do on the Star Wars show, though.
Yeah.
We're real Star Wars fans. I'm not highbrowing and saying that we're not, but we're the. I like to call us the everyman Star Wars fans.
And you know what? I meet so many people.
Everyman Star Wars fans. Why is that not the name of our show?
It is. What about pansexual robot fuckers? Did that stick?
That's a T-shirt.
Okay.
Coming TeePublic. We have a TeePublic page if you want to check it out.
Yep.
What is it? Pansexual robot fuckers.
Pansexual robot.
I think we're gonna make that shirt.
I like it. I still like B. Arthur on the shirt a little bit better. But before I move on, I just want to say thank you. There's nobody shopping behind us on this show right now. I just want to give a shout out to the Comic Bug in Manhattan Beach, where we do all our live streams. Anyone who wants to join us, send us a DM, get down here, ask questions. We have one person in the audience today, but thank you for being here.
Matthew Thompson. He's also in the chat apparently too.
Yeah, but he's got a face full of food right now.
He's a face full of food. His hand in his phone, his phone in his hand, and texting away. I do have one question or comment to make. You know, we do a lot of other shows here on Tuesday. We had a big turnout for another fandom. But what I'm thinking is Star Wars Resistance. We should do the premiere episode here.
I like that idea.
We've had some
epic parties here.
We're also getting one of the voice actors on from Star Wars Resistance on the show pretty soon.
Okay, well, the first of many. We're setting up a location to make...
Syndulla might be coming on the show as well.
let's save those announcements for when we're actually pulling them off, because there's a lot of names on that list, and we're gonna make a lot of fun things happen for anybody who wants to be a part and come to these live streams, because we have a lot of fun. And I'm just screwing around when I start saying stuff like what I just said about fucktards out there.
Now I do want to bring up another subject, and we're going to switch gears a little bit, because this also kind of ties into stuff that you talked about. Immersive experiences are one thing, but cosplay is a completely another thing.
Yes.
So let me ask you this. Oh, there's a but
are 501st guys chomping at the bit to work at Disneyland right now?
No, that's not. Well, no, but my question is this: Star Wars cosplay, I feel, is taken a little bit more seriously in the cosplay community in terms of the 501st, right?
Right.
So
it's the first legitimate huge organization.
100%.
Right.
So let's just talk about this for a second.
I guess I fucking chopped liver.
But no, I also do think I think 100% that Star Wars cosplay, I should say. All right, I don't know if they're even 501st called cosplay. Star Wars cosplayers, they take it to the next level.
Yeah.
And the 501st set a precedent for what it is to have the accuracy of the screen stuff. Would you?
Yeah, those guys are balls deep in. They can tell you every fucking change, minute as it might be, from film to film to film and things like that.
Would you go as far to say that the 501st is as close as you're going to be engulfing yourself into a community that actually makes you feel like you're a part of that, like immersive community?
Immersive. You know what? As much shit as I give them, I do think that is a real thing. I think that is, and I make fun of them and I give them shit and stuff, because just like any large group of people, you meet a few questionable representatives, but we have some really good friends who are a part of that, community, and who do stuff with us at live events as well.
The reason I bring it up, I just posted the article in the chat right now.
There you go.
JJ wrote an article about what it the cost of a cosplayer.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, it's steep, and they're committed, and yes, I think that is as close as you're going to get to that immersive experience, and they set a precedent for it. I mean, really, the closest second to that are like these fucking dudes who think that like running around with a broomstick between your legs is really fucking bringing Quidditch to life and being a part of the Quidditch League. I mean, I can't think of anything that even comes close to the 501st.
I agree.
Yeah. Pretty fun stuff. I still gonna make fun of you from now and then.
I'm gonna post another article in the chat right now, because this is a little bit of breaking news here at that hashtag show, but not breaking news, but definitely something that just dropped on our website.
Okay.
Ben Wolf writes an article that says, "Will Sidious return to Episode 9?" Now let's really depict this article.
Break it down. I'm gonna fucking refill my drink. Thanks, Daniel.
Huh.
I'm just kidding. I'm teasing you.
All right, so we're gonna crack open the rumor mill once more. This one could be a doozy if it's true. Now, we've long heard that J.J. Abrams is attempting to make Episode 9 the finale of all finales, right?
And that just came up in the chat room, by the way.
Yes. He is reportedly attempting to weave threads from all 8 movies before him into this last epic monster before the door closes. Now, the last thread reportedly woven by none other than Darth Sidious himself. An unknown source, so take it with a grain of salt, describes the leaked concept as a scene with Sidious and Rey. Okay? The source says, "There is one of Rey, the one of Rey I threw the rooms of a large ancient-looking building. It seems that she's in a room with relics and artifacts. Another image is described as one that goes over Rey holding a hologram of the Emperor Palpatine with a hood over his head and face fully revealed. The ties with the Jordan location."
Okay.
Now, could this be the returning Jeddah, or what lies beneath the surface?
I think it's fucking the world between worlds.
Okay.
I think, look, the secret to immortality, which Sidious has been obsessed with, they explained during the Rebels animated series to some degree that the world between worlds it holds the key to that, and maybe that was introduced for a reason, right? Bringing Sidious back, seeing the Emperor in the final Star Wars film. Now, it's an interesting choice because the greatest villain of all time in cinematic history is probably Darth Vader.
100%.
So we've made reference to Vader in a couple of these films. Kylo Ren is a descendant of Vader. It's his grandfather. We've seen the mask in the first movie. That was the throwback. It's interesting that Sidious would be the choice of someone to bring back. I kind of was thinking, like, to close this out, like, maybe we see some homage to Vader. Maybe Ben Solo fully embraces Vader as his heritage. I don't know, but I think it's a real interesting thing, and I keep thinking of the World Between Worlds introduced by the great Dave Filoni in the Rebels series.
Now, the report carries on to say that, again, let's see, the report goes on to say that this is vague and could hold some truth. If Rey isn't looking for artifacts to answer, Jeddah would be a good place to go.
Right.
Granted, we don't know if they survived the blast of the Death Star. It sounds like Rey will stumble upon either the Sith holocron of a recording of Sidious, which may shed some light on Snoke's origin.
Well,
Smart tie back, though, if that happens.
And it's interesting that when they said you have everything you need here, one of the final lines of The Last Jedi, not the final line, but one of the final lines, she had Luke's broken lightsaber, and her last scene, we see the shot of the kyber crystal. I believe in cinema, non-animated, that's the only shot we've actually... No, Rogue One, we saw a kyber crystal around.
Oh, yeah, we
saw kyber crystals. Anyways, that there was a throwback to that. I think it would be very interesting that, since that was the last shot, to go back to Jeddah, one of the primary sources for all this shit. Right?
You know, Jeddah would be a great place for kyber crystals, and Rey hasn't been running around the galaxy for a year without a lightsaber.
Right.
If some connections could happen, I mean, I think this would be a great way to reintroduce Palpatine and the Emperor to the Star Wars universe. I really like the theory. Ben Wolf, you killed it. Great article.
But by that same token, you introduce somebody in this last film. That means you're keeping a small foothold in the storyline, right? Do we just say goodbye? Shouldn't a lot of people are saying after this film, that's it for the Skywalker trilogies?
Well, I mean, if this is episode 9, I'm really hoping that, and this is the Skywalker trilogy, I really do hope there's callbacks to the other 8 episodes.
Right.
Mainly because it really would tie it all together.
Okay.
I think that that's kind of something that I do want to see, and I know that with episode 8, the one reason I did like it was because it took so many different turns when you thought it was going to go one way. Because if you look at The Force Awakens, it is just a rehashing of A New Hope, whereas episode 8 did take a lot of different turns. Whereas episode 9, realistically, as a fan, I think it needs to hit certain points to make it a milestone, to make it an epic conclusion to the Skywalker trilogy.
Look, it is a tall order to fill. You're going to close out the most successful franchise in history with this film. It's a really fucking tall order to fill. Now, how the hell are you going to do it?
With the Knights of the Old Republic.
That's, you know what? Why not? Dash Rendar comes in, flies in, and we have fucking B. Arthur slinging.
So what's worse? What's worse? If
Ewoks
is the way that people think about Episode 8, or what if you get the Milano that comes in, and then Peter Quill comes down, and then what if the Guardians of the Galaxy crossed over? Would you be pissed? Rocket Raccoon comes out and interacts with the Ewok.
I think in 10 years we see a Marvel on-screen crossover.
I hope not.
The fucking Avengers, fucking Luke is gonna join the Avengers in 10 years.
Imagine. Then Star Wars would start making some money. No, I'm just kidding. But
harsh.
No, I mean realistically, I mean I like all the I mean personally, I like the Disney era movies.
Here's something interesting that came up today. It seems like there are some hardcore fanatics in social media who are rabid about the fact that Star Wars should not have been reborn. Does that make sense to you?
No.
That doesn't make any sense to me. They wanted...
You don't shelve a property like that.
No,
I'm waiting for the Airwolf remake.
Can we get Louis Gossett Jr. doing another...
Hey, they just remade Magnum P.I.
Why would they not remake Airwolf? We're getting Top Gun, right?
Top Gun 2? A new Knight Rider show, I hope?
Fuck yeah.
There was a rumor, there was a story that we put out on that #show.com. Knight Rider was going to star John Cena, and the voice of Kit was going to be Kevin Hart, and it was going to be a comedy. That's a true story.
I think you could still do it with David Hasselhoff, personally. So,
as Kit the Car, and he just sings, "Ah, hooked on a feeling."
Look, I think you bring David Hasselhoff back, and you put Kit.
We went off the rails.
Did we? But I think Star Wars fans are Knight Rider fans.
I think, honestly, Star Wars, realistically, if you're gonna revive anything from that, this is the no bullshit realistic story. If you're gonna revive anything from the past that's kind of obscure, I would realistically revive the Droid series, and here's why.
Okay.
I would do it in a more serious tone, and then you get that Droid war story.
Okay.
But you do it in a more realistic tone of all these droids that are kind of interacting. I honestly think you could do a droid story.
We've added a lot of depth in these last few films, or Disney, like it or not, has added a lot of depth to the droids. Not that we didn't have it before. R2 and 3PO were very, very deeply involved characters in the franchise, developed along the way. But we saw a new dimension to the droids in Rogue One, in the anthology films, really, with I just said KRS-One, the rapper.
KRS-One.
K2SO and L3, right? With K2SO and L3, we saw some great expansion on the possibilities of what you could do with a droid character. I don't think that's a bad idea at all.
No, I don't. And it shows you that the droids can have personalities. They could actually do things that are different.
Why haven't in that universe droids progressed? Why do we have Cylon?
Well, they have.
Why do we have
I see what you're
Cylons?
saying.
And C-3PO is still fucking shining fucking gold like something that would be
I
hanging
think
around
that's a little different.
a rapper's neck.
You're talking more androids, and I think, and then there's droids. So I think that the droids are such a big part of the Star Wars culture,
right?
That you don't want to really mess with that. I wouldn't.
No, I wouldn't.
Because they're so unique.
But
right?
we don't have artificial intelligence in Star Wars, do we?
Well, we do. And,
3PO. I mean, the droids have artificial intelligence. They're fully developed.
They're fully developed characters. Which I like. If you look at L3, was a fully developed character. Fully developed character.
It really and throwing back to fucking Solo, what they did bringing Chewbacca, adding another dimension to Chewbacca was just fucking brilliant. I mean,
oh man, that was the best. That was the best iteration of Chewbacca I think
it
you've ever
really
gotten.
was. It really was. So fucking kudos to you, big Swedish guy, whatever. What was it?
Jonas,
there you go.
Big Swedish guy.
Oh, David Prose? Speaking of,
yeah, David Prose. Let's talk about him. Well, he's retiring for the convention scene.
Yeah, he's not. He can't pull that off anymore.
Yeah, it's kind of sad. I think that's so cool.
He's been in bad health for a while though.
Yeah, but I really think that and this is kind of crazy. You think of 1977 to where we are. A lot of these actors that were there then, it's a completely new generation by over 30 years, right?
Right.
So, I don't know, man. It's just so interesting.
Yeah. No, it's look, these guys. David Prose, although his voice in those clips of him before the overdub of his voice are fucking classic. There's certain names, whether it's Baker or Prose or whoever that are just associated with Star Wars, who became famous much later because of the convention circuit, right? Because they didn't always get their. James Earl Jones got way more due. And granted, deserve it.
It is James Earl Jones.
It's fucking James Earl Jones.
Granted, do you think he goes down in history more so as Darth Vader or Mufasa?
Ooh, that's not bad, but Vader for sure. Greatest villain of all time.
I mean, Mufasa's pretty iconic.
Mufasa's up there, but greatest villain of all time, I think, is Vader.
I did jokingly say a long time ago that instead of remember when it was called the Tower of Terror? I did jokingly say that that ride should have been called the Mufasa Drop.
Hey, Justin Lee brought up something, but going back to the Star Wars Land thing about Vader's castle. I feel like that should be a roller coaster.
Oh man,
right?
Honestly, I don't know. See, here's the thing: the cool thing that I am looking forward to about the Star Wars world, though, is the integration. So they're not making rides per se; they're making Star Wars experiences, right? You're riding the
VR.
Falcon.
VR is supposed to be a big part of this, right?
I'd like that more so than I do. Hey, let's do a roller coaster of whatever it may be. I kind of like the experience aspect of it because it makes you feel like. And here's another thing too: is Disneyland actually going to start letting in people that are going to cosplay now? Because that's a
That's been
rule
an
that
issue
Disneyland
before.
does not allow in.
They have not.
But it's not hard to sneak in, I guess, a cloak for a Jedi. But like, are they going to allow that? Because you can buy lightsabers inside the park. Those crappy lightsabers.
You know, in high school, I got kicked out of Disneyland because I had a Scorpion.
Matthew Thompson, he is going to go down in history as the blind guy from The Sandlot. That's true.
You're killing me, Smalls.
I love that movie,
dude. I love that movie. Probably the best like kid cast movie of all time. One of them. You could put the Goonies up there and a few, but
Mighty Ducks.
Mighty Ducks, a great movie. But Sandlot, props to you. So there's Disney, full circle. That's what they do.
But what with the Star Wars universe, the Star Wars world, the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge,
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to allow cosplay, and probably rightfully so. But I also think that how many times are you going to see kids like lightsaber battle in the park, and it's going to get super annoying?
Dude, and they're going to be
if I get hit with a lightsaber, I'm going to break that shit.
And a lot of parents are going to have to walk back to the fucking. We got to go back to the car to put the lightsaber away. That's going to be a thing. So I think when Star Wars Land opens, you're going to see a lot of announcements. Please do not cosplay. Please do not bring lightsabers. Please do not bring fucking blasters. By the way, carry it, Joe. Take it away.
I want a tauntaun,
dude.
But not only do I want a tauntaun, I want to cut up in its stomach and stick my friend in there,
now,
and that should be a photo op.
You know what? I didn't even think about it, but kudos to you. That might be the best immersive experience you can offer a Star Wars.
Yeah, it comes out like spaghetti, and just to keep them warm.
That's
going to be our next booth at Power MorphCon. We killed it with the Megazord. Next, we're going to have a tauntaun that you just cut open and you stick somebody in.
Photo op. You take your picture inside the tauntaun.
Inside the
I thought they smelled bad on the outside. Dude, that's not bad at all. That might be the best immersive experience, I think. That or the trash compactor.
Or
I think like recreating the trash compactor might be a fucking great immersive experience.
Or if we have that actually would be pretty cool.
Escape room.
Dude, that's
a trash compactor.
Hey, don't give away some of our best ideas on the show. That's what we're doing.
Kate, you rewind this.
Star Wars Celebration Escape Room, the trash compactor. That's actually a great idea.
Not bad.
I like that.
And put a real fucking boa constrictor in there.
No, nope.
No.
Nope. But yeah, man, I'm excited about what we have for the Star Wars universe coming up.
I can't wait. And
before we go, though, I have a question for you and a question for the chat. Episode 9, just one thing. One thing needs to be in it. What is that one thing? One thing only.
I want to see I want to see Padawan. I like the idea, and the city thing is cool. There are a few characters I wouldn't mind seeing coming back, but something really romantic about the Padawan and the future of the Jedi lives on. I want to see something in the storyline that talks about the rebirth of the Jedi.
Dylan says he wants to see Jawas as janitors in Star Wars Galaxy's
Edge. They all work on Canto Bight. Fucking, it's slave labor. It's terrible. Rose is going to set them free. Don't worry.
Question to you guys watching, and then we're going to go. What exactly is it that you want to see? One thing that you have to see in Episode 9. I'm really curious to know.
You know what? Real quick, going back to The Last Jedi.
Matthew Thompson says Ahsoka.
How old would she be here? We don't know how she ages.
Older. We don't know if she ages.
I've always just found something oddly attractive about Ahsoka. I don't know.
Greg Evans. Oh, this might be my favorite. A proper send-off for Leia.
That's pretty good. Because does General Han, does he deserve the send-off that Leia deserves?
Ooh, Dylan also has a good one. The Knights of Ren. Yeah, I've got to see the Knights of Ren.
Yeah. No, I think they have to address it at some point. They have to address the Knights of Ren in this movie. Ryan Johnson brought up a good point. There was not enough time to devote to the Knights of Ren in The Last Jedi.
Matt Nuttleman says Broomstick Kid is a Padawan.
I think that's part of it. I really think that's part of it. And I think there's something romantic about the send-off about a new generation of Jedi. We're down to one. And there's that line, everything in that sentence was not true. Or whatever he said to Kylo, he's like, when I kill you, I will have killed the last of the Jedi. And that epic statement that Luke makes before he dies, yes, people, he's dead. And if we see him, he's not fucking being reborn. He's not whatever. It's because it's a flashback, and everyone excited about fixing Rian Johnson's mistake. You're just fucking gotta live with it. This shit's canon now. He's dead.
Bruce Brown says Mace Windu. You can live without Mace.
I can live without Mace. in his purple lightsaber. You know, I haven't thought about Mace since he fucking dove out that window.
I haven't thought about Mace since Avengers 3 when he disappeared with the rest of them. But guys, I think that's going to do it for us, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. We had such a good time tonight talking about this. And I would suggest that leaving your comments in the comments here, letting us know what you guys want to talk about next week. But not only that, if you guys want to join our team at that hashtag show, we need more Star Wars writers, guys.
Yes.
And you can get cool opportunities, just like Ben, Greg, JJ, and Anthony.
Has Justin Lee?
Justin Lee should be joining us.
Dude,
man.
you got so many great things
I
to
like
say.
Justin
I would
Lee.
love to hear
He's
something
also
from you.
he's also a fellow Dash Rendar fan.
Yes.
Cheers to you, Justin.
You know what? And I still don't know, like, who's better, Dash Rendar or B. Arthur. We don't even know her character's name. It's just more important. It's just as important as Dash Rendar. I think, going back to it, people let us know, is it that shirt or is it pansexual robot fuckers?
Either way it goes, you vote right here at that hashtag show.
Okay.
But
Want to take us out, baby?
Thank you guys so much for joining us. You can check out our daily Star Wars articles at thathashtagshow.com. So join us over there. Also, thank you guys so much for watching. Please hit that like, share all the Star Wars groups, and subscribe button on our YouTube channel to stay up to date with everything trending in Star Wars pop culture. And may the Force be with you.
See you guys.